My name is Susan Fullmer, and I'm a healer, teacher, and mentor. Today I'm going to talk about the fifth chakra, which is located at the base of the spine. And it's all about speaking our truth, both to ourselves and to others. I did an overview on chakras in general, and I'll link that down below if you don't know that much about chakras and you want to learn. Also, I'm going to let you know right now that this is not going to be an encompassing video. There is plenty of great information out there on chakras and what they are and all about them. So if you are at all drawn to this topic, I strongly recommend not only just to look it up and read, but take a class on it and really dive deep. What these tutorials have turned out to be is something different than what I intended. I've been teaching chakras for eons and could pretty much do it in my sleep, which I think is my spirit said, it's time for you to go deep and teach something new and different, which is both thrilling and terrifying. And I did it anyway. So I've been sitting the last 2 or 3 weeks with my fifth chakra. And as I've mentioned before in some of the other videos, it's like a database. It really contains specific information for each of us about what's going on with those issues. So for example, if I am in a relationship and things aren't going well and communication seems to be an issue, and I'm trying to figure out, am I speaking my truth? Am I communicating well? If I think I'm speaking truth and maybe I'm not sure, I'm hazy, foggy, what do I do? Short of calling a good healer or a reader to get some clarification, we can actually do a meditation and go straight to the source. So in this case, fifth chakra is at the base of the spine, sort of in the middle of the neck, and get that information. So that's what I did. And shocker, there was stuff there for me to get. Really, of all the chakras, this one surprises me the most because this is probably the one where I have come farthest in my own personal life. I grew up in a community and a family where I did not have a voice. In fact, I was specifically told, you don't have a voice. You are not to contradict, especially what church leaders and your male family members say, even though they were abusive and there was all kinds of shenanigans going on. I was not allowed to speak and I was not allowed to know, although, you just sort of stuff down your knowing when you know something, when it's not safe to know something. But certainly you don't open your mouth and you say it. So that was my early years. And certainly we take those systems and patterns that we have in our early years and probably from past lives, and we carry that on into our adult years, which is exactly what I did. Got into marriage where I continue not to have a voice and so on. So for me, specifically over the last 30 years, it's been a lot. Let me repeat that. It's been a lot of work on my fifth chakra. And it's really hard to speak your truth when you don't have a clue what that truth is. And so no judgment. We're all on this process together, and from birth to death, it's just, and beyond, it's just this discovery process. And so, yeah, years. Try this one on for size. In a quiet meditative space, and I'd recommend writing this down. Write the question, and then whatever comes to you. The thing that makes me happy is, and it could be a list. Now, there have been times in my life when I've asked that question, especially later on when I knew to ask it, and nothing would come. And I knew, especially being a psych nurse, that that's not a good sign. I really ought to be able to at least vocalize, at least to myself, in my own head. And that's fifth chakra, even if you're not speaking it out loud to the world, if you're speaking it to yourself, that counts. That's powerful magic. But you got to know what that is. And so sitting with that question, or my truth is, my values are. Any of those defining questions that may even evolve over time, and maybe should evolve over time as we learn and grow and mature. The fifth chakra has that information for us. Even if our brain doesn't, that knowledge is in there. Who am I? And what does it mean to speak my truth? I know that when we do not speak our truth, that totally takes us out of alignment with our energy. So when we can get straight on with our soul, inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it, I don't get hung up on vocabulary. We all come from different cultures, but I suspect we're kind of talking about the same thing. That inner knowing, when you go in there and you're feeling quiet and deep peace with some kind of inner knowledge, even an aha moment, and it's just the most solid thing you've ever felt. Like nothing is going to push you off that, because it is you. All right? That's that inner knowledge, that inner knowing, that inner light that syncs up with the divine. And when we can get there, then we can speak that. And if we're out of alignment with that, it wreaks havoc with first of all, our energy flow. And physical follows energy. So it in turn wreaks havoc with our life. Our physical body, we may have ailments, even injuries, disease. It wreaks havoc with our relationships. All the great dramas on TV, wherever you're watching. If you watch, it's about miscommunication, right? Who doesn't know what? Who doesn't have the right information? If everyone had the correct information of all the characters, just like, here it is, I see, I know, then there's no show, because there's no drama. Healthy people who speak their truth are boring in the sense that there's no drama. Frankly, that's the way I choose to live my life. No drama. And that comes from speaking our truth. All right, what else do I want to say about the fifth chakra? Oh, right, my personal journey the last few weeks. Be so careful what you ask for. Self-discovery can be a bitch. Truth can be really hard, really hard. I get it. I know why we dive into addictions and avoidances and any kind of numbing activities we can come up with, because the alternative is to see what it is. When things get quiet and the truth bubbles up, it can be really painful if we're not in alignment. So let's see, how do I want to say this? Get that pun? Long story short, I started channeling. How's that for craziness? I had major judgment against channelers. I think I'm going to put a link in. I just saw this great conversation between two people that I actually admire and find them to speak truth. And they had an conversation between the two. And they talked about what channeling was all about. And, so for many years, because I'm not going to go into what all that is. That's another thing. But for many years, I had judgment about that, simply because the entity that's speaking will come through and use the human's voice. And I know now, as of today, this moment, it's like, oh my gosh, no wonder I had judgment. It's because of all the sexual abuse from my childhood, and anyone taking control over me and authority over me, where I had no say, had no agency. That stuff freaks me out, or used to freak me out before I did a lot of good therapy. But channeling, makes sense that I would have judgment about that, because there's no way I'm going to let somebody take over my body and my voice and blah, blah, blah. And then as time went on and I learned more, and I heard some channelers that I thought had a lot of integrity, I realized that that was their path. That was who they were and what they came to do, and that they had a very solid relationship of integrity with, often it's a collective that they channel, or even if it's an individual entity that they channeled, that it could be a very loving place of trust and power. And so I didn't so much judge it anymore, but I also wasn't drawn to it. I didn't think about it at all. So craziness. I've been working with this ET coalition, for lack of a better word, all races. They told me 500 plus when I asked how many there were. So I've been chatting with them for several years, and we're just now doing a CE5 group where we go out and actually get visuals, and we had audio last time, which was pretty cool. But I digress. I was familiar with them and their energy, and I have come over the years to really trust this group, that they are very advanced beings of high vibration and love, that they are powerful, respectful, loving, really amazing healers. Oh my gosh, the stuff that they're showing me is just pretty incredible. So I adore them and I trust them. But I had never channeled for them. And so I've done that several times this week, and just for myself, but their words have been very helpful and very, very true for me and helping me work on my issues. So I've been in my 5th chakra, sitting, meditating there. You can like make sure you're like a little mini me, and then just see yourself go in there and sit in the middle of this ball of energy. And I'm visual, so I look around and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking mess. I don't see a lot of flow here. I don't see movement. I don't see healthy color. It's sky blue, by the way. And, when it's like faded or congested or icky or scary or anything other than just vibrant health, then there's work to be done. And guess who can help you with that? The 5th chakra. Also ask your guides and your helpers, or a good healer. Any of that helps. But speaking our truth, I think, is one of the most powerful things we can do. Once I figured out who I was, what I wanted to say, which is still a work in progress. It took me many, many years, and I'm still discovering. Obviously, this week's been a big one. But as I stepped into the power of the 5th chakra, my life changed. My life changed. To have a voice in this world is incredible, because along with some of that healing was, I matter. I'm able to have a voice in the world because I matter. I'm allowed to exist on this planet, which I never thought I was. I didn't want to. I wanted to be gone, even to suicidal. And to realize that I have a right to be here, and that I have a right to my thoughts and to my words. And that as I speak them, and as I learn to sync them up to my inner truth, wow, just so powerful. And then I'll give you a little hint. If you want to, we talked last time about the heart chakra, right? Love and trust. And if you want to bring and flow some of that energy up through the throat chakra and out, that's powerful. But wait, we're not done. Think about going down one more chakra, which is the 3rd chakra. So it's our own personal power, who we are in this life. Start that yellow, wonderful, powerful energy, flow it up through the heart chakra, and then on through the 5th and out. Can you see what I'm saying? The power of the who am I as I stand in my power, love, which is the biggest power of all, and then speaking that. First and foremost to myself, and then in turn to others as that's needed. All right, I sit here a changed woman. I hope you had a good week. Be well.